Special council meeting to order. Is there an actual agenda here? There it is. Okay. First up, resolution 13-20. Are we going to take them all at the same time?
Oh,
Oh,
pledge allegiance.
It's on the agenda.
Well, it's not on the agenda.
It's 4 o'clock, everything's messed up.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk, take the roll.
Mayor O'Connor.
Here.
Morissette.
Here.
Wakefield. Knutson. Kennedy.
Here.
Bruck.
Here.
Hall.
Here.
All right. Do we want to do these one at a time?
Yep, in order.
Okay. All right, first up, resolution 12-24, providing for the issuance, sale, and delivery of $5,745,000 general obligation promissory notes, Series 2024A of the City of Hudson, Wisconsin, establishing the terms and conditions, therefore directing their execution and delivery, creating a debt service account, therefore, and awarding the sale thereof.
I'm gonna turn it over to Sean.
All right. Am I coming through okay? Sounds good. All right. What I've got up on the screen, and hopefully those connecting virtually are able to see this, is at the front end of the process, one of the steps that we work with city staff on is updating the city's bond rating, and we've talked about this in the past. I think we had a very good conversation. Mike, I think you'd agree that it was pretty straightforward. They were interested in, as they always are, development activity in the city. And, you know, they certainly, these are probably the largest issues we've done in the city, I think, financing-wise, bond issue-wise. But at the same time, for a growing community like Hudson to take on more legacy-type projects, to continue to be able to provide services to the community that are demanded of you, it's not in any way unusual. So the report, which I think Mike and Allison may have already sent out to you guys, details a lot of general information about Hudson as well as some specific financial information. And I think a couple things I'll just note real quick. I won't bury the lead here. They did keep us at the AA2 rating, which is what we had expected and hoped for. They talk in the report about continued solid economic growth, strong resident income, and very strong reserves and liquidity. Those are big credit strengths for Hudson. On the other side, some things that they monitor that when they compare you to other very highly rated communities, you're a little bit more on the higher end, is elevated leverage, which I will share with the council is not unusual in Wisconsin at all because of levy limits. It makes it very difficult to fund capital projects to a large extent through your general levy, having to do so through debt. And then they note that in your in the second bullet point as well, that you have limited revenue raising flexibility because of those levy limits. And the other thing I'll just mention on the report, again, excellent rating at the AA2, is what are some things that could lead to an upgrade or downgrade, continued regional economic growth that drives the resident incomes even higher than where you're at in the future, and then over time, maybe a declining leverage or overall debt indebtedness of the community. Generally, as a per capita number is how they look at that, as well as a debt service as a percentage of your revenues, percentage of your expenses. And they do give us a target there of below 200% of revenue as a way that maybe if we got to that level would lead to an upgrade. And then on the downgrade side, you know, they certainly, if there was a contraction, big macroeconomic type of issues that are completely out of your control, those sort of things can have an impact. I think I do appreciate that they did kind of give us a minimum target on the fund balance with that 40% of revenue number. Now, they did tell us that they've started this practice of putting these numbers in there to help provide guidance, but it shouldn't be looked at as just a rock solid. If you go below this is going to happen if you stay above, because it's a guide, and they still think about the rating in the context of these factors as well as many other factors. So, but I think it's helpful that they do talk a little bit about the fund balance, and then also leverage. If we're up over 400% of revenues, that would certainly get their attention. But lastly, overall, excellent rating, and certainly this was a big help in the sale results that I'll go into now at this point, Mayor, unless you or any of the council members have any questions on the rating.
Anybody have any questions? Okay.
All right. So I've got an executive summary of the results of the sale. So I've got all of them here, but we'll start with the notes as the mayor led off with the agenda. Just as a quick reminder for the council, we've got 3 issues that we're going to talk about today: general obligation tax exempt bonds, general obligation tax exempt notes, and taxable note anticipation notes. Remember, the taxable issue is related to the lease situation on the building that we're acquiring, and the tax exempt notes and bonds are the funding source for the governmental purpose portions of the buildings that the city is acquiring, as well as because we can save some money, and I'll talk about that as we go through the numbers. We did include within the total financing, refinancing the 2013 GO bond issue to try to achieve some savings on interest costs. And so that's the total debt issuance package that the city was looking to secure financing for. So our first sale was the sale of the general obligation promissory notes. And again, from that previous slide, this is financing the acquisition, primarily the acquisition costs of the governmental purpose of the Public Works building, and then the police station building as well. We ended up seeing really strong interest in the city's issues. Third bullet point, we had 11 bids ranging from the best bid at 2.91% to the highest bid was 3.12%. So all of them very strong competitive bids. As I'd mentioned, the best bid was 2.91%, and that was from Loop Capital Markets out of Chicago. We were seeing bids from all over the country. And again, that's another factor of the strong AA2 rating that the city has. In comparison to the pre-sale report, we had projected interest rates, a blended interest rate of somewhere around 3.49%. So coming in under 3% today was really a great result. And what that means in terms of total principal and interest cost is in the pre-sale report, we were looking at somewhere about $6,951,000 to pay back principal and interest on this debt issue over the next 10 years, about $100,000 lower than that, given the lower interest rates that were received. And that translates into less cost and less, hopefully less debt levy in future years. Going forward, this note would be, if approved, would be closed on March 7th. So that would be the days we'd have the funding become available. And the call date, the issue is paid back over 10 years. The first 6 years would be non-callable, but in September of 2030 and any date thereafter at the city's option. You don't have to do this. You're going to be locked in for the 10 years at the interest rates that we're talking about. You could refinance, though, at your option if you wanted and lower costs were available, or cash had built up and you want to choose to pay the debt off early. So, Mayor, I could take any questions on this issue first if you'd like. Otherwise, we can go through the other two, whatever you and the council would like.
Does anybody have any questions?
Real quick, are you familiar with Loop Capital?
They have bid on issues before. Honestly, I don't recall them winning a Wisconsin issue that I was involved with in the past. But yes, they're a recognizable name and certainly somebody that we can feel comfortable deliver for us. Yep.
Anybody else? All right, go ahead.
great. So the second, sure I didn't jump this here. Yep. Second issue on the agenda today is the general obligation corporate purpose bonds. And the bonds are repaid over a 20-year period, where the notes are over a 10-year period. But the bonds are financing the remodeling of both the police facilities and the public works facility, those budgets, as well as financing the refinancing of the 2013 issue. Also, really great interest from all around the country on this issue. I rarely see double-digit bids, so 13 bids that's exceptional. Interest rates ranging from the best bid, 372 to 381. So you can see a lot of people interested in the city's debt. We've in the past done competitive sales like this, and I think it yields very good results, and because there's a lot of active bidders who are very interested in the city of Hudson. The 372 is the best bid, and that's again out of state. BOK Financial out of Denver is who had that best bid. Now they're a little more of a recognizable name. We see them bidding on Wisconsin credits quite often. Couple things, pre-sale report, we were looking at a projected interest rate of about 4.22%. So coming in at the 372 was great to see. Cost-wise, in the pre-sale report, we were looking at principal and interest of about just under 17.1 million. But with the results in the lower interest rate today, we're looking at about 16.5 million. You'll also notice the issue size is 10,025,000, and I think on the agenda, Mayor, for the bonds, I think it says 10,700,000 is what we were looking at the time.
715, yeah.
Yeah, 715. So you may ask, well, what caused that? The bid that we got had a significant premium to it, so they paid us more than we were asking for. And because, in talking with city staff, we decided to put the refunding of the 2013 issue as part of this overall issue. When you get a premium, there's only two things you can do with it. One is you can put it into the bank account to make future interest payments on your general obligation debt. The other is, if you have a refunding, you can take the money and use it to pay the old debt off right away. So that's what we ended up really doing, is all that premium allowed us to, instead of having to issue 10.7 million in bonds to finance the remodeling of both buildings and to pay off the 2013 issue, we are only going to need to issue 10,025,000 in bonds, because we're getting that additional funds from that premium bid that we received, and we're going to use it to pay the old bonds off. So it works out really well.
What was the interest rate of the old bonds?
I think they were in the mid-3s%. The last line, we're going to save a little bit more than 98,000 when you compare the new schedule with the old schedule by doing the refinancing. Okay. So they were in the I think it was mid-3s to 4, and now we're going to be at the 372 is the blended rate over 20 years. This issue, the 13 issue, is going to be paid off over the next 10 years, so it's more at the front end of the issue and the yield curve as well.
Okay.
Okay. So savings-wise, compared to the pre-sale, again, we were like 17.1 million, and with the results today, with the lower interest rate than projected, total costs of principal and interest about 16.5 million. This issue also has a call date on it of September 1, 2032. So between now, 24 and 32, we're not able to make prepayments or pay the issue off early or refinance the issue. But starting in 32 through the end of the life of the issue, 2044, at the city's option, if you wanted to, you could refinance if lower interest rates are available, or use cash to make a prepayment. So again, on both of these two issues, we were very pleased with the results and would certainly recommend approval of both of these issues. Okay. And finally, our third issue, as you recall, was the little more unique issue. This one had to be financed on a taxable basis rather than tax exempt. So the purchaser will have to pay taxes on the interest payments that we make to them, whereas the other two issues, they won't have to pay federal income taxes. So we ended up getting 5 bids on this, and certainly the interest rates are higher when you don't have that benefit of the tax exemption. We sold this to a list of banks that we had sent out requesting bids from them. The bids ranged from 5.74 to 7.75, so a very divergent view of the $3,490,000 short-term taxable note anticipation note. So the 5.74 was the best bid. And as the council will recall, what we're intending to do with this issue is with that lease in place, over the next 5 years, we're going to have interest-only payments on the issue, with the idea being that we're going to use those lease payments that the city will be recipient of to make those annual payments. And then at the end of the 5-year period, depending on what the current tenant decides to do, they can extend it for another 5 years under the agreement, or if they want out, let's, for the sake of this discussion, say they decide, you know what, we're going to be out of this space. City would take it over at that point, and then the space, instead of being a private business use space, would become governmental, like the rest of the stuff that we talked about earlier. And at that point, we'd take the balloon payment on this, the roughly 3.5 million, refinance it at tax exempt interest rates and pay it back over, say, 10, 15, 20 years. It'd be up to the council at that point, which you'd like to do. So again, we have the call ability. Should something change, we could prepay this early starting next year, about a year from now. And this issue, as well as the other two, are all set to close early in March, so that we'll have the funds available to finish up with the acquisition costs, and/or, I know you had on your agenda last night, reimbursing yourself for some dollars that you're putting in to deal with some expenses on, I think, March 1st, I think, Mike? Yep. Okay. So, Mayor, those are the 3 issues. I did have one last slide, and I just wanted to share this one since we talked about it with the council before. This is the update of your existing debt with the green bars. The blue bars are the 3 new issues that we're doing. And then we've got future issues per the city's capital improvement plan in 25 and 27. And then the potential extension of that debt issue we just talked about in 2029. So the idea is really these issues this year and the one potentially in 25 are projected to take our debt levy up some from where we are, the bars in green. Certainly you're taking on some large legacy projects, but on the horizon, we're looking to kind of level that debt service out from year to year for budget purposes and kind of get us on a level for a few years and then declining, because I'm sure there's going to be ongoing street and other needs of the city coming forward. But this chart is lower than what we had talked about in our planning discussions, and that's a result of these interest rates coming in much better than we had originally projected. So with that, I'd turn it back to the council. We'd have the 3 resolutions for action tonight to secure the financing for the acquisition and the remodeling of the buildings, as well as that refinancing of the 2013 issue. From our standpoint, we would recommend approval of all 3 of those issues. And at this point, Mayor, if there's any questions, be happy to talk about those.
Anybody have any questions? Anybody? All right. So, first up, Resolution 12-24, providing for the issuance, sale, and delivery of $5,745,000 general obligation promissory notes, Series 2024A of the City of Hudson, Wisconsin, establishing the terms and conditions, therefore, directing their execution and delivery, creating a debt service account, therefore, and awarding the sale thereof.
Move to approve resolution number 12-24.
Second.
Got a motion second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's approved. Resolution 14-24, providing for the issuance, sale, and delivery of $3,495,000 taxable note at anticipation note of 2024 of the City of Hudson, Wisconsin, establishing the terms and conditions therefore, directing its execution and delivery, creating a debt service account therefore, and awarding the sale thereof. Yep.
Mayor, one issue on this one and the next one. This one would be $5,000 less than the amount you read. Because again, with the results of the bid, we were able to reduce that issue $5,000. And then on the next one, just to get ahead, it's $10,025,000, I think is the final. Just double check.
10,025,000, not, what is it, 710?
Yep, the final issue is $10,025,000.
Okay.
And this one is 3,490.
Yep. Is that check with what you got from the bond attorney, that $10,025,000, Mike?
That's what's on our resolutions, that
Yep,
sheets that we
then
have.
that's,
Okay, so, you want me to read it again, restate it that way?
No.
No, move to approve resolution 14-24 for $3,490,000 taxable note.
Second. Second.
Got a motion, second, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Resolution 13-24, providing for the issuance, sale, and delivery of $10,025,000 general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2024B of the City of Hudson, Wisconsin, establishing the terms and conditions therefore, directing their execution and delivery, creating a debt service account therefore, and awarding the sale thereof.
Move to approve resolution number 13-24.
Second.
Got a motion, a second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh,
Yay, you made it.
opposed? Motion's approved. Have it be noted there also, Becky, that Joy is here?
Yep.
I already told her what she
Oh,
should
okay,
have.
all right. Good job. Anything else? Anybody?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Motion is second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. We stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.